Hello everyone. Through this video, I aim to share insights on my journey of finding a job. During this phase, I myself have studied, learned from different resources and have applied that knowledge to my job seeking process. And I have come to the realization that there are few areas that every job seeker should focus on. I have broadly classified them into three major areas. So, we'll be talking about the first area now. The first area is networking. When I started applying for jobs, I saw that most of the replies were around the lines of, unfortunately, we cannot move forward with this application, ... I heard similar stories from my other contacts as well. This could be a bit frustrating, especially when you think that you fill in so many boxes in that job description. This is where networking comes to your rescue. Imagine if you were a recruiter. Glancing through so many applications can become a Herculean task. Also, some of the jobs, they are not even advertised. In both of these scenarios, you would prefer someone who's being referred by the internal employees. This is where having a connection will help you. Networking helps you get through that first step. It helps your resume get shortlisted by the talent acquisition. I'll give you one more scenario where networking can help you. Now, you got referred by a connection or you saw a job ad, you can go straight up to that connection and inquire about the company, about the role, whether the values of the company align with your values. What is the work culture like? So there are so many questions that you can ask them. So networking helps you in not only getting through that first step, but it can also help you understand about the company where you may work in the future. Now that we have discussed this, we'll discuss the things to do in this particular area. Things to do. Number one, LinkedIn. Being active on LinkedIn. Commenting on posts, liking, writing, sending connection requests, not just plain connection requests, but connection requests with some kind of a message. The message could be that I saw this particular work of yours, or I was deeply impressed by the fact that you worked in this particular project. And since it is also a mutual interest, I would like to stay connected with you. These kind of customized messages will always make you get noticed by your connection. Also, writing any kind of posts, like for example, I'll give you an example from my journey. I wrote a blog about one of the certifications that I did. It was a very simple blog. I covered different tips, to pass that certification. What are the resources that you could refer in that particular certification? You won't believe the number of connection requests that I got after writing that blog was insane. There were so many profile visits. My profile got noticed big time. So it is very important to be engaging on LinkedIn if you want to grow your professional network. Number two, Meetup app. There's this great app which helps you to connect with different groups, not just based on your professional interests, but also your personal interest as well, your hobbies. There are different groups there based on, sports, music, and also your profession as well. For example, I'll give you an example. I attended a meetup about 3 times. Before COVID, obviously, we could attend, after COVID, it turned online. But before that, I attended a meetup about 3 times. I met this person there. And when I saw that a job ad in her company, I messaged her straight away and I asked her if she could refer me. So this is where meetup can also help you in networking and growing your connections. Moving on, things not to do. Don't go straight up to a connection or a person you have just started speaking to, and don't let your first conversation be about referring you to a job. That would definitely put that person off, and that person may even lose interest in speaking with you. It's a gradual process. It takes time. So I would highly recommend utilizing the things that I mentioned to network more, to grow your connections effectively. The second area that we'll be discussing today is building proficiency. There's this quote that goes, the number one way to build confidence is to build competence. Work on your core skills. Identify your skills and the ones that are relevant to the job. Once you are through that first round of interview, the following rounds will be based on your core skills. So it is very important to work on these skills. Things to do. Number 1, certifications. Certifications don't guarantee you a job, but they definitely show your interest in learning. For example, I was asked about my certifications in all of my interview rounds. They asked me questions like, which do I think was the easier one? Why was this particular certification different from the other? So certifications definitely, make your interviewers feel that you have an interest in learning different things. Number 2, hands-on projects. Just doing certifications is not enough. Aligning your certifications with some kind of a project or an activity. It could be a small project, it could be a big project. But if you talk about this particular aspect in your interview, that, following this certification, I also ensured that I did this particular project, the impression that it has on the interview panel is huge. Number 3, boot camps, volunteering, internships. This is another way of gaining your confidence or your proficiency. Being a part of some kind of a boot camp or internship is really important in this particular area as well. But you need to make sure that they make you do some kind of a hands-on project. For example, I was a part of this boot camp, where I did a lot of projects. I knew most of the concepts in advance, but being a part of this boot camp changed my confidence drastically. Not only did I learn the best industry practices, but I also made a whole lot of connections here, from juniors, freshers to experienced people. So it was quite a life-changing experience. So I would highly recommend this as well. Number 4, focus on your transferable skills. For example, your communication skills, your strategic thinking, your teamwork. If you could speak about some instances where you exhibited these qualities in your interview rounds, even that has a great impression on the interview panel. Now, things not to do. Don't compare yourself with others. Everybody's learning journey is different. So the final and the third area is final touchdown. Okay, now you have worked on those intermediate rounds, on your proficiency, on your core skills. The next step and the final step is applying for that job. Go and apply for that job. Things to do. Number 1, work on your CV/cover letter. It is very important to work on your CV because I have heard stories where there is an ATS system where some words, keywords are put into that system and your resume is discarded in the first step itself. Scary, right? There are so many applications that are discarded right at this step. So it is very important to work on your CV. Christy Bonner, who's unfortunately no longer there with us, I used to refer to a lot of content that she used to post on LinkedIn. I have referred to her resources as well as other resources and have I have finalized some common points. Some of them are, number 1, your font size should be minimum 11 and upwards. Your font should be Arial or Times New Roman. Number 3, having all the keywords that are there in your job description, having them in your resume. Not all of them, but most of them. Spreading it across your resume in different sections. For example, your, the achievement section, your project section. Covering all those keywords is really important. 4th point, keeping your resume simple and in a readable format. Maximum 2-page resume is what is recommended across all the resources that I saw. And unless you are, applying for a UI UX position or some position where you actually need to show your creativity, only in those scenarios, you can experiment with your resume. But other than that, I actually would prefer a simple resume. Cover letter. Cover letter should basically highlight some of your achievements and in 1 or 2 lines, just highlight the fact that why do you want to work with this particular company. I am applying for this position at this company because I think the work that is done in the company will align with my work, or I'll get a chance to learn a lot by applying in this company. So something like that, maybe in 1 or 2 lines, and some of your profile USPs. That's all what's required in a cover letter. So I would highly recommend investing time in both of these when you're applying for any job. Number 2, the second thing to do is working on your behavioral interviews or interviews with your hiring manager or the HR. Now you have worked on your core skills, you have crossed that intermediate rounds. Probably the last round, or 1 or 2 rounds would be based on this particular concept, behavioral interviews. The reason I placed this in this particular area is that because personally, once I understood the approach, I didn't spend a lot of time in this particular area. So this is all about storytelling, about presenting your experiences in a manner that your employers or your interview panel, they will vouch for you totally. One of the most famous approach in this particular type of interview is STAR, which is the situation, task, analysis, result. I refer to a different approach. It's one step lesser than the STAR. It's called PAR, problem, action, result. The link that I refer to, or the video that I got information, I'll put it down in the description box so that all of you can refer. This is basically about, this round will have questions like, what is the most stressful thing that you encountered in your previous work, or what is the thing that you're most proud of in your job tenure. So questions like these would be a part of behavioral interview. So I'll give you an example that how would you answer this. So we are referring to the strategy PAR, problem, action, result. So I'll basically first state a problem. For example, that one of my technical senior leads, he left the company in a very short notice, and I was assigned a task which previously he had to do. Since I was assigned that at a very short notice, and I was also expected to do it at a particular deadline, it was a bit stressful because I was not really aware of what are the things that are supposed to be done. Now what would be my action? My action would be, I jotted down different approaches. I had a discussion with my other technical leads or other people in the team. I listened carefully, I researched a lot, and I found, I tried to jot down what could be the optimal approach, and then I finally came to a solution. Result is that because of the situation that I encountered, I myself have started, I gained confidence in working under stressful situations. I realized that being calm and jotting down different things or following different approaches is the right way to work under pressure. So this has helped me a lot in facing these kind of situations in future as well. So this is how you basically answer. It's just about presenting your experiences in the form of a story. Okay, now suppose you have interviews with a hiring manager. I would highly recommend asking questions, because they at the end of the interview, they would always tell you, do you have any questions? Never say no. Even if you are repeating your questions in suppose 2 or 3 rounds, do that. Never say that you don't have questions. It's just about, suppose you asked a set of questions in 1 round, you can repeat those same questions in the other round as well and say that, okay, I got his perspective, I wanted to know your perspective as well. Questions like, what do you enjoy the most about working here? How would you describe the performance review of this particular company? So these are some of the questions that should be asked to the hiring manager. I would also place a link for this particular thing as well in the description box. I got a lot of help from this particular video. You also can refer to that video. Number 3, research about the company. Suppose you applied for a job either through a connection or directly, and you got a call from the recruiter. It is very, very important to research about the company. When you ask questions like during your interviews that, how does the day-to-day work look like? What do you expect from this role? If you also can provide some inputs about the company that, this company works in this particular field and I kind of resonate with this particular work. So the impression that it has on the interview panel is huge. And not only that, they can ask you directly as well that, do you know anything about this particular company? In that case also, you should have an answer prepared. You should know something about the company, and you should have, one more line to add on to that, that this is the reason that I want to work in this company, or I'm looking forward to the further interviews in this company. The fourth, facing the interviews. Nobody fills in all the boxes in that particular job description. And in fact, I would say that even if you fill about 50 to 60% boxes or the things mentioned in that job description, that is enough. Apply for that job. It is very important to be confident in your, you worked on your skills. So you have to be confident now. Now face the interviews with this particular confidence. Repeat to yourself, I did that. You also can do that. Almost every day before the interview, repeat that I will get a job based on what I know and based on my potential. There will be a lot of things and there will be a lot of negative thoughts in your mind that I do not know this thing or I do not know that thing mentioned in the job description. But trust me, nobody does. And even the interview panel, they also don't expect you to know all the things. So it is very important to face the interviews with confidence. So the final section is the facts section, or you can also call it the reality check section. So, firstly, you will not hear from everybody you message or connect with on LinkedIn. You may not get a reply back. Secondly, rejection is a part and parcel of obtaining a job. Thirdly, don't be afraid to ask for help. Everybody asks for help either in the form of resources or referral. Finally, negativity is very common in job search. Your task is to get out of this negative frame of mind and apply and go through those interviews with confidence. On that note, I would like to congratulate, appreciate and wish all the job seekers out there for their persistent efforts. And if you want to add anything to this particular video that may help other job seekers, put it down in the comment section. And if you like this particular video, do share it with other job seekers as well. Keep learning and spreading knowledge. Thank you.